Okay, John, Tom Hitchcock, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, Tom. Thank you.
It looks like it's a hot day with your fan working overtime above.
No, Brisbane, no rest for the wicked. The humidity is very high today, so I'm glad to be inside.
Yeah, with the I think you had all the storms and the floods last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's Queensland for you. So yeah, when it's hot, it's hot. When it's raining, it's pouring.
Whereabouts in Queensland? It's in Brisbane, yeah.
Yeah, Brisbane Bayside area, so down near the bay, Manly, sort of Wynnum, Manly, Cleveland area. Yeah, it's quite nice down here. Yeah.
And is that where you're from originally?
No, we moved here, oh, wow, probably 12, 15 years ago now. Kids went to school out here. Originally, I was moved to Manly. I had a business there, sold that business, then obviously moved here when the kids went to school. Yeah. So been here probably 15 years. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So you're an entrepreneur, business
Mm,
owner. Am I picking up the right things? We don't know each other as per usual. I get to know people on this. That always piques my interest
sure.
because I'm in that club too. It's
Yes,
got no hair
absolutely.
left.
Yes.
So tell us about what it is that you do.
Yeah, so the latest business that we started in August 22 was the easy truck rental business. So myself, I'm one of three owners. So myself, Ben Steele, who's the CFO, CPA qualified, so quite an accomplished individual, joined up. And then we have Damien Beasley, who resides in Sydney. He's a lawyer by training and obviously a chairman of our board. So the three of us started the business in August 22, basically renting trucks, nothing overly exciting about that, in that the product itself is one that everyone will be familiar with. But, we wanted to do things differently. We obviously started and called ourselves Easy, EASY, primarily because we wanted to effectively make something that appeared unnecessarily complicated easy. And it was a deep market. It was a strong market, a staple, of most people. Most people move. So I think I saw a stat that 80% of Australians or something like that don't use removalists. They move themselves, right? Whether it's the mate's ute or renting trucks and vans and all sorts of things and trailers. 80% of Australians actually move themselves short distances. And so that was really the basis on which we started. And we've really set about to remove out of this business as much as humanly possible anything that is unproductive, unnecessarily complicated, overly sophisticated for what we do, and to just keep it nice and easy. And that's hence the brand.
Okay, all right. There's a few things I'd like to ask there, but I'm gonna start with why that industry? Is that where you came from previously? Is that the type of business?
Yeah. So Ben and I met at another company, another rental business. So that's how we became to come to know each other. And I did come from that industry. I'd spent some time in that rental business industry. I guess in some respect, I've always been attracted as an entrepreneur to businesses where they're fundamental to the functioning of society, right? Sort of like an underpinning of success to some degree, right? So, and I always then look at those things and go, right, how can it just be done a bit better? So I think for me anyway, in the way in which I approach it, much like you and your podcast, I mean, recruitment as an industry is out there. There's lots and lots of competitors, but you're the only one I know of doing it this way, which is very interesting. So, I've probably adopted a very similar approach. We take something that's otherwise banal, boring, maybe basic, but necessary, right? And always in demand. And we basically try and make it more attractive to the vast majority of people that have it. So, in terms of my mission, in terms of my goal, as I say to my team, at the end of the day, and my agency, if I can just be on 80, if there's 100 people looking for a truck at any given moment in any given market in a country, I want to be on 80% of those shopping lists to get the phone call. And if I do that, I've achieved what I set out to achieve. And that would mean significant brand equity, hence why I'm on the shopping list. It would obviously mean a growth rate that would be underpinned, because obviously the demand for moving trucks is not going anywhere. It's not a fad. And so I think if I can say that's how I do things, it would probably to consolidate a business, to value add it, to go verticals, which is what I've done, and then just to make it mind-numbingly easy to do business, to the point where and we've had it said to us quite a number of times now, it's almost too good to be true. And we're at, I don't know, 300 or between the two businesses, 200 or 300 5-star reviews in 2.5 years, Google reviews. And most of the sentiment in those reviews is just how easy it is, how helpful it was, how quick it was. And I think that kind of thing is really quite important, because the brand is really where all the value is, not the product.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So I talk quite often about not competing in a crowded space. And what I'm talking to there is genuine USPs. Okay, recruiters are notoriously bad for this. That we quite often talk that we're very different, but say the same thing as each other. It's almost like we're not self-aware or of our, or at least our competition. So is to have those genuine points of difference for people that remember you, and for a variety of reasons. But what I like about what you've done as well is it's not just about the branding, it's through the products as well. You've made some tweaks and changes so that it is a refreshing change. And I think the name itself, it picks on specifically what you've changed. And people like that. People like the idea of having something complex, which gets some.
Yeah, I say unnecessarily complex. When
Yeah.
you think about it, right? I mean, you've obviously rented a car or a vehicle or something in the past, and it might cross your mind, and I know it's crossed my mind. It crosses a lot of people's mind. Like, I'm just down here to get a car. Why is there so many hurdles to jump through? Why do they go out of their way to make it hard? Right? I mean, I'm hardly a criminal. I'm hardly, I don't really want to do anything nefarious. I just want to get in the car and go where I got to go. Or I want to get into a truck and do what I got to do. Right? And it's from that we sat down, as we did in the early days. Our board meetings were down at the pub type thing, and we're all scratching our heads going, well, this is a good idea. Now what do we do? Basically, it all started with the question, like, why, and there's been plenty of books written about this, but the why question, like, okay, so it's a big market, it's a big industry. It's sophisticated, it's simple to understand. So why is it difficult? Why is the interaction at the rental office always tense, always laced with anxiety? I mean, why? It's not like we're going to the doctor to get given bad news. It's not like, we're going into an environment where there's inherent tension. There shouldn't be, right? So, banks are a good example. Why is it always got to be so hard? And I used to own a BOQ franchise for 9.5 years, and I went into it with the same attitude, right? Of why is it got to be so damn difficult just to get the simplest things done, or all this sort of thing. So my ethos has always been that in any business that I've ever gone into is, why are things harder than they simply have to be? Because that is the recipe to making money. I think you look at two types of entrepreneurs out there. There are the ones that, especially in the tech space, or they would just want to do something really, really out there, right? I want to recreate something. I want to create something new. That's okay. Incredibly risky. Not a lot of appetite in the country for capital for that. But I get it, right? And then there's all the quiet entrepreneurs, as I call them, maybe the grey-headed ones, which is, what? There's a business that's already making tons of money as an industry, or plenty of money. There's a lot of cash flow. How can I get in there and get a piece of it, right? It's a bit like I think there were these two guys that in the early days of YouTube, believe it or not, they just started a business editing people's videos so that they didn't look like rubbish. I think YouTube bought them for 10 million. I think these guys are in Melbourne, bought them for $10 million or something like that, right? And that's all they were doing. Now, the crazy thing is, editing videos had been around forever and a day, right? But what they did was they basically looked at this new emerging, technology, not technology, but this new emerging platform. They saw the viral nature of it, and then they looked at a lot of those videos and saw, gee, a lot of them are pretty rubbish. They're not as good as they might be. There might be other applications, and they started offering that service, right? So in a way, I'm doing something similar. I'm latching to a big industry out there, major players. The rental industry is like the banks. You got your big four, big five, and then you got all the regional and the niche players, right? So we're like a fintech. We're not even a regional bank. We're like a fintech focused just on one asset class and a distribution model, which is different. Not revolutionary by any stretch, but different, right? And our focus is very much on brand equity. Building our brand, building our reputation, and from there, all else comes, I believe.
Okay. So a bit like a nano bank, I think that's
More or less, yeah.
yeah,
We're not trying to do everything. We're not trying to rent anything that moves on four wheels or whatever. That's not our business. So we don't necessarily compete directly with the majors, because they try and obviously cover all classes of vehicles and various other things. We're very focused on one type of asset class, and we just want to be one of the best in the business at it.
Yeah, okay, I like that, and I do like the idea when we look at business, we look at a sector. The sector's worth this, it's worth that in my locality, it's worth that in my specialism, for example. But what's are others doing well, and what are they, and where the areas are for improvement? And sometimes when you're in that business yourself, you can't see the wood for the trees. You can't necessarily see what you're doing wrong, or this is how we always done it. It's too costly to change, for example. But when
That's
you're
right.
talking, about the branches, it did make me think sometimes it's like applying for a mortgage, but then you've used that example at the banks as well. So you took that away from me.
Right. That's right. Yeah, no, it's, as I say to people, the way I approach these sort of opportunities, I'd rather, because, if you think about a pebble, right? A pebble, small, manageable, I can afford the pebble, I can hold the pebble, I can throw the pebble any distance I want, I'm in control, I'm stronger than the pebble, right? So I'd rather find a big pond and throw the pebble into the pond, and then just, obviously, as the wave, the rings go out, right? As opposed to what a lot of people do is they take the heaviest boulder they can find and they throw it into a puddle, right? And then wonder why all the water's just gone. So, I don't approach business that way. I don't want to spend all my time building, finding, the biggest boulder I can, so that I feel as though I've built a beachhead that can't be, and then just go and throw it into a puddle and realize I'm done. So I tend to think, no, I'm better off to get a little pebble, have many pebbles, throw them into a number of ponds, big markets, and see how far the ripples go, and ride along with them. So that's been my approach to things. Yeah, if I could use that metaphor.
I like that metaphor. It's very nice as well. For some reason, I don't know why, but I started thinking, it's, you do the skimming.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know where you could take the analogy for that one,
That's
but
right. Well, if you think about the irony of it all, right? A lot of people get nervous. I'm under-resourced. I don't have enough of this. I don't have enough of that. Whatever it might be, right? I flip it on its head. I say, yeah, okay. I mean, some of that might well be because you simply don't. So you can't do much about that, right? It's the old Stephen Covey thing. Just focus on what you can influence, because that's in fact how it grows, and you start, you can then move into those areas of control where you don't have control now, right? So effectively, in effect, if you then basically take the approach or the attitude, I'm limited with resources, I'm limited with knowledge, I'm limited with money, I'm limited with a lot of things, but I'm nimble and I'm malleable. Okay, because it's when it's when, to use your analogies, to skip the rock, right? You don't really know when the rock's going to stop and drop. Okay, now it's either going to stop and drop early, prematurely, which means, okay, or it's going to go a long way, right? So at the end of the day, you simply don't have that option with a big boulder. The boulder just goes as far as it goes, because so if we sort of use those analogies, so you get one shot, that's it, and then you're all over, because you put all your eggs into the one basket. So it's the proverbial, I spent all my money making the best widget and then found out the widget didn't have a market. Bugger, right? You know what I mean? Now what the hell am I going to do with this worthless widget? So I think it's like, well, why didn't I go out there and buy 500 trucks and put them, well, for start, that's the boulder, right? Now, what happens if the market didn't grow as quickly as I wanted it or needed it to do to backfill 500? So it's better to, and the airlines do this all the time, it's better to know where demand is in whichever way you can find that out and backfill it with assets. Because, there's no shortage of assets, but the unknown, until such time as it becomes the known, is where is the market and where is the density of the market? Where is the profitability in the market? So this is the business science of it, right? And I think that's where a lot of small businesses get, in my view, get mixed up, is that they think business is an enabling, a facilitation tool for the product. In actual fact, the business itself is the product. right? How do you know? Virgin as a brand. You know, what has it got? Gyms, airlines, you know. So easy vans, easy trucks, easy little moves, our removal, easy little deliveries, right? Easy mopeds, easy, you know. So the business is the product. That's the thing you got to do R&D on. That's how I look at it. That's, you know, I've had a lot of mentors, I've had a lot of training with people who have done this very successfully, and the overarching theme is the business is the product to invest in, because
Yes.
you can backfill things at any time. And you know, the funny thing too is that if you're successful at doing that, the things are just attracted to you, the talent, the opportunities, you know, all that kind of thing. So in actual fact, it's like an inverse curve. The more successful you are at building the intangible, the much easier it is to get the tangible.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah,
And so
absolutely.
in a service business or a knowledge business, that might well be talent. The best talent wants to work for the best brands or the best companies that, you know. And in product, you know, it's buying power. It's attracting those big branded products that now want you to distribute for them because, you know. So, you know, I think in that respect, that's how I've always looked at it. The product is the business.
Yeah.
Sorry, the business is the product, I meant to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that, and it feels. Someone talked to me yesterday, and they were saying how to not chase stuff, but to have pick yourself in a position so you attract what you need, the law of attraction. And it feels a little bit about like that with what you're saying with the business. You know, if you set things up properly, you know your market, done your research, and what have you, then things will cross your path.
Yeah, I think so. There's two parts to it. You know, I look, you know, what you're saying is very true. You know, I think most people out there in making a buying decision, unless it's a point of sale, you know, if you're in a shop, right? You've got something physical in front of you. But if you're sitting at home making a decision, right? So there's the immediate decision comes first. I need a widget, you know, I need a mouse. Okay. Yeah, and there'll be reasons for that. This one's died. I just want a new one, whatever the reason might be, right? And it always goes in this order. The need comes first for whatever it is. I need staff, okay, or it might even be before that. I'm just working too hard. I'm doing too many. I need to backfill this with somebody, right? So that's the immediate need, and then within a nanosecond, because the way the brain works, it's who do I know? Who do I know? Right? Now, real estate agents know this, which is why every second day there's a real estate agent's thing in my mailbox with his face plastered all over it and his name, right? And the idea being is that if I see this person enough times, and it works, I'm just going to know them. I have no idea who these people are as people. But if I need a real estate agent, I've got 3 names in my head already. And I even know where they work, right? So I'll probably call them and just start that. So that's the first thing. Who do I know? So that's why I said I want to be on the shopping list for 8 out of 10 people who have decided at any given moment they need a truck, right? And then the third part of it in this order is, what's my immediate experience like ringing this person or talking to this person?
Yeah.
Now, everything can go horribly wrong there, right? Because the funny thing I've discovered about people is that they love to self-sabotage themselves. They really do. Buyer's remorse, classic example, right? I mean, you decided to buy the damn thing, so why would you feel guilty about it, right? It's irrational, but it's primal. It's the amygdala. You know, it's the fear of flight. So I know somebody. I know Tom at Purple Patch Consulting because we did this funky bloody thing, and he allowed me to talk about my business, and so I'm going to remember him forever now. So that it comes a time I need staff, I'll give him a call. I mean, I don't really know him, and I don't know what he's like as a recruiter, but he's going to get a phone call. Great. Okay. So then I get on the phone, right? And then the relationship is obviously different. It's like, hey, this is what I need, la, 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 la. And that's where you make or break, right? So when I sort of do sales training, I used to do sales training. So you just got to follow that order. Like that's the sequence of buying decision. I have a need, a thing I want, a desire, an opportunistic need. Hey, I'm out having a few drinks and, maybe we'll go to this wine bar. How does that wine bar otherwise attract me, right? So, okay, we'll pop in there because it's the ambiance or because it's crowded or because I like the look of it or because, it's too far to walk to the pub, so I'll go there. Whatever the reason is, it's that sort of thing, and that gets you in the door. And then all of a sudden it's now I'm in here, I'm immediately assessing, I'm attaching value propositions. Bang, 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 bang. Oh, hang on, it's not as crowded as I thought it was. they're a bit grumpy or out at the counter, or you know what, I've just automatically sobered up a little bit now. I'm being rational. I'm just going to, I'll just walk the extra block and go to the pub now and leave, right? Or it's the opposite. Hey, shit, I'm here and I'm going to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars in this place, right? And I think the problem is too many people do it the other way around. You know, here's my great business. So when you have a need, give me a call.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm going to forget I'm going to forget you in about half an hour, but I'm still going to have the need. But I'm just not going to remember you, right? So that's the trick to it. So with respect to our business, availability and locations, you know, yes, we have to have trucks running around because they're billboards, but also too, people have got to be able to go on the internet and go, wow, these guys are in 20, 30, 40 locations. So they're so convenient because my decision-making window for a banal, boring purchase is small. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because it actually makes me feel tense because I got to move house. I got to do this. I got to do that. I just want to be able to get it done, right? So there's a truck down the road. I'm going to go get it. That's fine. Okay. I'm out of fuel, or I'm really low on fuel, you know, and I had a great experience. Lovely bloke at Shell at wherever it was. But you know what? I don't want to drive all the way across town. I'll just go to the one across the road, right? So the point at which people make decisions just depends. So I can only imagine in your business, you're either going to get people who are well planned, well organized. Yep, we're growing and expanding, and it's all very glass half full and positive, and we need fantastic talent for all of these new initiatives. Or it's, oh shit, you know, the shit's hitting the fan. We're getting a ton of customer complaints, and we just need more people. So now we've just got to get desperate. Now we don't have anyone in the house who could do this, so we're going to go and ring a recruiter and see what we can get. And you'll know this because of the way in which you interact with the client, which it is, right? And it also depends on the size of the business and everything else. So, you know, with us in terms of locations, distribution, those are critical things in our growth phase. But, you know, when you get a lot bigger and you're in every city in the country and everything else, then it will shift a little bit because locations, well, that's a given. We are everywhere, right? It'll then boil down to basically boil down to other things like, okay, what subset markets can we move into now? Can we go horizontal and go into subsets like small business and distribution and companies and all sorts of things? So fleet, that's how it tends to grow. Okay.
I think what I picked out, and there's a common theme with what you're talking about, especially when you come to the sales elements of what you're talking about, is how people make you feel. Okay, so it's how you feel that first interaction, second interaction, how you feel afterwards. Do you have the buyer's remorse? So there's very much, and sales is an emotional game because we've got different sales emotions when it comes to decision making. So different characteristics of individuals that we just can't say no to, you know. So there's that emotion there, and I think you've just honed in on that to make sure that emotion is consistent and positive all the way through. Hence the amount of 5-star reviews you've got. Now, now I have to be careful now because we've only got a couple of minutes left. So I didn't realize what time was, but it's a sign that it's a healthy conversation, and I've enjoyed what you said. People want to make contact with you after listening to this and check out your business. Where can they find you and your business?
Yeah, easytruckrental.com.au. Call the 1-800, send us an email. It's all on the website. Absolutely. Yeah, they can hook up with me on LinkedIn. I'm there, whatever they like. Yeah, more than happy to open conversations and talk to people. No problem.
Fantastic. Listen, sorry to cut you off short there, but I've really enjoyed that. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it. Bye.
Thank you for watching this episode. I hope that you did enjoy it, had lots of takeaways from it. As before, please subscribe below so you can keep on top of any new releases we have. And also, if you would like to have your story told, just reach out with me and I'd love to give you that platform. My best email address is tom@purplepatchconsulting.com. Thank you.